Hello and welcome to the Cat Who Project, and in today's episode we are taking a deep dive into the wonderful character that eventually moves 400 miles north of everywhere, Koki. Koki, or should I say Miss Alacoque Wright, is introduced to us in Chapter 7 with this passage. A tall young woman emerged from behind a louvered folding screen at the back of the shop. Her straight brown hair fell like a blanket to her shoulders, hiding her forehead, eyebrows, temples and cheeks. All that was visible was a pair of roguish green eyes, an appealing little nose, an intelligent mouth, and a dainty chin. Koki is Mrs. Middy's assistant, Mrs. Middy being a decorator, and Qwilleran calls in for an appointment to interview Mrs. Middy, but she's running late. Koki is a great character. She says to Qwilleran, "She's always running late. Would you care to sit it out?" She waved a hand dramatically around the studio. "I can offer you a Chippendale corner chair, a comb-back Windsor, or a mammy settle. They're all uncomfortable, but I'll talk to you and take your mind off your anguish." She introduces herself to Qwilleran as Alacoque Wright and corrects him when he suggests that decorating is her business. She says, "Architecture is my field, but girl architects are not largely in demand. I took this job out of desperation." She likes modern design and asks Qwilleran what he likes. He replies saying that he likes anything, as long as it's comfortable and he can put his feet on it. There's this great passage that really illustrates Koki's cheeky nature. She says she doesn't like to use the term modern design. She says it's so ambiguous. "I prefer 20th century classics. Mrs. Middy doesn't let me meet clients, afraid I'll sabotage her work. And I believe I would," she added with a feline smile. "I have a sneaky nature." Qwilleran later wonders about that sneaky nature. Koki denies knowing David Like, even though there is a photo of him in her bag. And on top of that, Coco has taken a profound dislike to her, to the point that in Chapter 11, he pounces on her as she lays on the shaggy rug in Qwilleran's, or should I say Harry Norton's apartment, and grazes her head with his teeth. Qwilleran is mortified, but he also trusts Coco and begins to wonder about Koki's involvement with recent events. Had she suggested the Allison house to Mrs. Middy, knowing it was a disorderly house? Had she intended to embarrass Qwilleran? And why did she snatch away the photo of herself with David Like when it fell out of her handbag? Why was she even lying about knowing David Like? But of course, Koki is completely innocent. She had not known about the Allison house being a disorderly house, and the photo of Like in a wallet was simply because she had had a brief relationship with him. Like so many other women, Koki had fallen for David Like's charms. But what about Coco? Why had he taken such a dislike to Koki? Was he jealous of her? Well, according to Mrs. Highspite, the unofficial psychiatrist, Koki sounded too much like Coco. At the end of the book, when Qwilleran says he is going to have to change Koki's name, her thoughts immediately go to wedding bells. But then just as quickly, Qwilleran bursts her bubble. He says, "You see, Coco doesn't like it when I call you Koki. It's too close to his own name." "Just call me Al," said Alacoque Wright with a wistful droop in her voice and a resigned lift to her eyebrows. I think Koki is such a great character, and I'm so glad that she is a recurring character in later Cat Who novels. She's a bit quirky and kooky. She turns up to her dates with Qwilleran in the most outlandish outfits that she's sewn herself from upholstery fabric or old curtains. One outfit she converted from a green corduroy bedspread. She said the irregular plush pile looked like rows of marching caterpillars. Qwilleran remarks that they looked very tasteful. Koki tossed her cascade of hair. It wasn't intended to be tasteful, it was intended to be sexy. And I think the kookiest quirk of Koki is her choice of drink. She makes these cocktails, which sort of sound like spiders, the ice cream with fizzy drink on top. But Koki adds grated nutmeg, and she carries a grater and some fresh nutmeg with her so she can whip up a cocktail on the go. So will Qwilleran and Koki still be dating in Book 3? I can't quite remember. Thank you you for listening to this week's episode of The Cat Who Project. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again in the next episode. Bye now.